Welcome to Flesh and Pod, a Flesh and Blood podcast, breaking down weekly news and notes from the tournament scene, community drama, game strategy, and more. And now, here are your hosts, Derek and Logan.
Hello, and welcome to episode 137 of Flesh and Pod. My name is Logan. I am your host. With me, as always, on this, we're going for the land speed record episode because there just isn't much to talk about. Is Derek Oswald. Derek, did you do anything in Flesh and Blood at all?
I did not do anything direct in Flesh and Blood, no. I was having some additional talks with Rick at Hoplite Games today about their Flesh and Blood Day, because right now their armories are on Wednesdays, and so he even asked me, he's like, hey, you coming this week? And I was like, man, I'd love to, but like, you and I've had this discussion where I do one of my podcasts on Wednesdays, and due to my partner's availability, I can't really move that. So probably not. And he was like, oh, well, we might need to change that then so we can get you in here. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I'd love to play some more Flesh and Blood. But it wasn't just about moving days. I actually talked to him because he's a new story. He's just picking up the game. So we were talking about things to help get established players in, but also get new players. And so I had said, hey, if you want, I have a bunch of commons. I can probably throw together some commoner decks that you can just give out if people are interested, right? Like, I literally just give them to you, don't need anything in return. And so he was asking me questions about that. And I said, yeah, like Fi is a very easy commoner deck that I can build and hand out. And it's great for, in my opinion anyway, I think it's great for teaching people how to play the game because he cares about the combat chain, but he's not... His combo lines, because it's just count the draconic attacks, aren't as complicated as a Zen or even really a Katsu. So I think he's great. I said I could also throw together like some commoner Bravo decks, Olympia. I was trying to think of like, things that were new player friendly that would work well enough, like literally with just commons, and I could just make a bunch and send them. So he said that was, a cool idea and that we would try to do that. But in terms of like actually playing in an armory, I couldn't this week, obviously, conflict, and probably can't play this next week because it's too soon for them to move the date. But that's okay because I'll be doing other stuff in Flesh and Blood here in the near future.
You will.
Yeah. So yeah, I didn't get to do anything direct, but I had a really good talk, like I said, with my local game store, one of my local game stores today, about stuff we can do in the future.
Yeah, that's good. I just played in a Blitz Armory. Took all of like 45 minutes or whatever to do an entire Blitz Armory. But I found out that I'm very rusty playing Briar, as I hadn't touched it in a little bit. And I had everything, the entire sequence of what I needed to do right in my head, and then didn't do that.
So I've done that before.
Lost that game and then won the next two. So I went 2-1. It's fine. The outside of that, I didn't do really anything. I kind of tracked a little bit. I mean, outside of this, I did do I did go on another show that Geeks First, aka Jacob, puts on. It will be coming up. I think it's supposed to be his 5th episode. I believe it's coming up probably next week or this week, something like that. But we talked for, I think, almost like 3.5 hours. It was just Josh Scott length, but it was more a macro discussion about TCGs in general, amongst other things. So it wasn't specifically Flesh and Blood related, but there was Flesh and Blood in there. And so yeah, I didn't get up to much. I don't have to be in a car driving anywhere or on an airplane flying anywhere for a couple of weeks. So I'm trying to kind of bask in that and not do too much until it's time to go be doing too much again, which is coming soon to a theater near me. But yeah, that was the gist of it. It just wasn't a lot, but also very welcome that it wasn't a lot. We're in a lull in the Flesh and Blood calendar where we are in between the national season and Pro Tour Amsterdam. And this was one of the few dark weekends where there are no tier 2 or tier 3 events going on, no skirmishes, no ProQuests, no road to nets, no battle hardens, no callings, no ProQuest pluses, just kind of not much. So we are awaiting next weekend to a degree. But go, yeah. So let's talk about the not much to talk about. You in for that?
I am, yeah. Sorry, I was leaning in here because I saw something in the show notes that I didn't remember as being correct. So I was pulling up the info.
Go on.
We should dive into it. Well, in our news and notes section, we talk about the skirmish season prizes, right?
We do.
And in the show notes anyway, you have the thing about the 2 new cards revealed, and your note says both are 1 cost and they block 2, but I remembered that differently. Yeah. And I looked it up and I was like, no, Earthform definitely costs 3.
Yeah. And
so I just wanted to make sure I wasn't losing my mind.
Nope,
I was like,
nope, you weren't.
I'm like, nope, my eyes aren't going that bad. That's definitely not a 1. Okay.
Yeah. That's on me.
No, that's fine. I did. It's a way to stretch this to the 47-minute mark just to make you wrong about your prediction.
Yeah, let's talk about skirmish season prizes. We do have skirmish season coming up, Living Legend and Blitz. Depending on where you're located, the stores just elected to which they wanted to run. They weren't assigned. I am very interested, by the way, as to what that mix is going to look like. I don't think there will be a whole lot of Living Legend, which is kind of a shame now with Icelander sort of coming back into the fold. And so I'm interested in how that all plays out, kind of because there need to be a check on the ninjas at this point. But so let's talk about these prizes. First off is the winner gets a cold foil Blaze. So that's the young hero wizard that has been a convention exclusive in rainbow foils. But here is a way to get it as a cold foil. So I'm going to guess that this one's going to be a pretty sought after commodity and is going to bring out some of the sweatier Blitz and Living Legend players to try to obtain one of these, because once something is in cold foil, they don't put it in cold foil again.
Right.
So this is going to be Skirmish Season 9, I think it is. Is it 9? Yep.
It's 9. Yep.
So Skirmish Season 9 prizing is going to be one of those 2 years from now, 3 years from now, if anything, Blaze is still a thing, which probably not, honestly.
But she's LL'd by then.
Yeah, probably long LL, but people can go through their binders and see it. Like, where the hell did this come from? Because they've only been playing for 18 months or for a year. It's like, Skirmish Season 9 is how you would get that card. So I think that this is this is good though, right? Like we've talked about a lot where we wanted better high-end pricing for these types of things, or top tier pricing for these types of things. And I think this checks that box. What do you think?
I agree. It also gives me a small, tiny, modicum of hope that I might still obtain a Blaze. I'm back and forth on whether or at least I was. I've ultimately decided I don't think I'm going to register for it. But I was back and forth on whether I wanted to compete in one of the Blaze events at Gen Con. Largely because Stark will be with me, and making him sit through a big classic constructed when he's just learning to play that type of event just didn't feel right for him for his first foray. So we're still gonna do some Flesh and Blood stuff at Gen Con, but we're gonna do something else. I didn't want to throw him into the Sharks. And I didn't want, and you and I had this conversation, I didn't want to register just to get my promo and then drop, because I think that's unfair to other opponents. Yeah, exactly. It's just I understand sometimes you got to do what you got to do. And for other promos, maybe I would, but it just wasn't something I wanted to do this time, especially with Stark. So this, assuming that I can spike my way through all of the Emperors and Enigmas and whatever. At least gives me a shot where I can pick up a Blaze in a different way, and makes me excited. I'm also, I'll be honest, I'm most excited to attend a bunch of skirmishes because of the spot prize.
We'll get to that. There's a reason I put it as last on the list, because I need to make sure you don't start horny, that you end horny. So the second prize on the list on this is 4 copies of Cold Foil Channel Mount Heroic. Now, people, I own like 12 copies of Foil Channel Mount Heroic. Now I have to get Cold Foil Channel Mount Heroic.
And they're gonna, I'm just telling you right now, much like Blaze, they are going to be a hot commodity 2 years in the future, like you were talking about, because when they release Earthbrute and everybody's like, how do I cold foil my CMHs? This will have been the way to do it, right? It'll be Skirmish Season 9. We'll all look back and be like, oh yeah, that's when they started hinting the Earthbrute.
If you didn't play in Skirmish Season 9, you done fucked yourself, is basically where we're going to wind up.
Yeah.
This is a card that will look gorgeous in cold foil. And that's why I'm already rolling my eyes and knowing that I have to acquire at least 2 and probably 3 to 5 of these somehow, some way, when I'm only going to play in 2 skirmishes. Great. But the fun thing is that it will only be available in LL formats afterwards until Florian comes out and you get Channel Mount Heroic again as a viable card to play. So this is definitely something that I want to get my hands on a set of them at minimum. So yeah, I'm going to be playing skirmishes, and I'm going to be playing tryhard decks because I want Cold Foil Channel Mount Heroics. Not even apologizing.
Yep.
And then the last cards on the list are 12 copies each of Lightning Form and Earth Form for participation. Now, we do not know the power of either of these. We know they both block 2 as reds, and they won't block any different as yellows or blues if they have yellows and blues, which we don't know if they're a rainbow. They both are an on-hit embodiment token, so embodiment of lightning or embodiment of earth. And the lightning costs 1. Mm-hmm. The earth costs 3. So my guess is it's a 3 for 7 and a 1 for 5 is my guess.
That would be my guess as well, especially because they also have the appropriate talented keywords, right? So lightning form is a lightning attack. Earth form is an earth attack. And I'm sure all of that's going to be as relevant this time around as it was in Tales. I think that, honestly, these cards look great as far as balanced, simply because they also have that 2 block, right? I think that they are appropriately costed for, relevant on hit, but low block. I just want to say real quick, the lightning form art looks outstanding in extended art. I'm so glad they gave this one. The earth form looks great as well. Thematically, I'll be honest, it took me a bit to realize that it was a dude, right? It looks like a cool tree. And then once I realized, like, dude, that's like a dude crossing his arms, looking all extra like a bouncer. And I was like, oh, that's actually really, really cool. So I appreciate that one. But that lightning form art piece legitimately could be like a comic cover. You know what I mean? Like this, and it gives me all of the elements of almost like a Storm in X-Men on a comic cover sort of thing. Like I think that looks outstanding. So kudos to, again, sadly, I can't see the power, but I also cannot see the artist as a result of where the where they got 12X is. So whoever you are, it looks great. Like that is a fantastic piece. I don't need more heroes that I want to play, but it almost makes that art piece alone almost makes me want to play that hero. Just full stop.
Aurora, Speaking of comic books, by the way, the X-Men post Krakoan relaunch started this week. It's good.
That's right.
It's very good.
I haven't read it yet. Is it good?
Yeah, I picked it up I just put and subscribed to all of the new books. I'm just like, fuck it. I'm going to go ahead and hop back in. There's a lot of writers I really like. There's a lot of artists I really like that are doing things with it. And so I hopped in, and book 1 of X-Men did not disappoint. The team is really interesting because it's Magneto as the overarching leader.
I was just getting ready to say this is very timely for me, because what I was doing before we started recording is I was playing Fortnite with Monroe.
Oh, with the Magneto skins? Yeah.
Because they have the Magneto skins. So I was, twerking on kids' corpses dressed as Magneto.
Which is something he would do.
Well, and in the game, they didn't just add a skin. They have gloves that give you Magneto's power, so you can like literally just throw metal balls at people. And so I just run around doing it's so fun. Yeah.
And then also doesn't like his float, he does the stair step thing.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. And so Magneto is the overarching like team lead, with Cyclops as the field lead. And then you have Beast, who, if you read the Krakoan comics, sort of persona non grata for a while. He did some shit he wasn't supposed to. Then your heavies are Juggernaut and Magic. So if you don't know Magic, she is, most people know who Juggernaut is, but Magic is a whole different ballgame as far as what the fucks go. And then the rest of the team rounds out as Psylocke, who is one of my favorites.
Always been one of my favorites too.
Quentin Quire, who it's hilarious because Quentin Quire, aka Kid Omega, is one of the most powerful telepaths, but he's just kind of a whiny asshole a lot of the time. And he was one of the characters that died the most in the Krakoan era because he's a whiny asshole. And Temper, who was newer during the Krakoan era, think of it a combination of Human Torch and Iceman.
Yeah.
So super cool. The way that they put those together and made it like very, very interesting in issue 1. And so I'm very excited to see how they treat the rest of the books, but that's Comics Corner for the moment.
Yeah. So, I mean, you have me sold on Psylocke and Juggernaut. I have a massive Juggernaut statue over here to my left because.
And I'm always intrigued when they have Juggernaut as even a pseudo hero, because Kane Marco's biggest problem is just Xavier. It's not really anything else.
Yeah.
It's just
he's just like Xavier's a dick. And so the minute you like take Xavier out of the equation, he's almost likable. I really even though I didn't like a lot of the stuff that was happening during that time period, his like mini arc within that arc where he very first like turns good and it's him and the little boy mutant and whatever, just felt very satisfying to me, because it was almost like he was getting to relive being a brother, but in the proper context. Like, I know he's not the kid's brother, but he kind of plays the big brother role. And so it was everything that he was just trying to do, everything that he wanted between him and Xavier, and felt like he never got. And so I just thought that was really cool and dynamic. And that was literally the reason I got the statue. I was like, he's won me over. Like, that was fantastic writing. Like that's how you heel turn face a character.
Yeah. You face turn a character. And I mean, it works. It really does. Back to, away from Comics Corner, which this is going to happen pretty much weekly, because as these books come out, especially the issue 1, so next week is Phoenix. And that also looks better than it probably has any right to be, because it's X-Men Cosmic stuff, which is always very interesting to me, but we'll see how they treat it, how they do. But I know that Gail Simone was raving about the book, and Gail is one of my absolute favorite writers. So, and she's actually doing Uncanny X-Men, so that'll be super fun. But so yeah, you'll hear more next week, I'm sure. At any rate, the last part of the Armory kit, or not Armory kit, Skirmish kit, is a playmat. It's a very pretty playmat. I would say probably B tier. Yeah, B tier playmat. Do you agree with my assessment of B tier playmat?
I can't think of a single planet, real or fictional, that I would be okay with calling this a B tier map on. Like, you could put me on this planet, Neptune, Tatooine, doesn't matter. There is no way this is a B tier playmat.
But what's the playmat?
It's just a Nick, and it looks outstanding with the art blown up. But I'm also really, so here's the weird thing about me, all right? When I play games, I love my stuff to match, right? Like, I weirdly don't care what I dress like most of the time, but I love to accessorize my gaming stuff. And so right now, as far as like playmat stuff goes, I have an Arachne Solitary Confinement mat that I use when I obviously play Solitary Confinement. I have the Uzuri playmat that I use when I play Uzuri. When I play Adult Arachne, I have the Leave No Witnesses playmat, and I use that. But I didn't have anything that I felt was the embodiment of new when I play her. Like, I've got Mistveil playmats or whatever, but it wasn't, I don't know. It was like generic Mistveil, and I wanted something more assassin-y. This is it. Like, this is perfect for me. So I need some way, somehow, to get this spot prize at one of the skirmishes so that I can use this whenever I play new.
Hey, Anna, if you're listening, can you just like make Charmers some form or fashion of like assassin related bracelets or like nipple clamps or something so that he can continue to accessorize his assassin playing? But it is quite a beautiful playmat. It is bloody as all hell.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and I love that part.
I mean, that's I don't have them in front of me. I recently ordered the assassin token set from Fab Metal Tokens that has
they're bloody as all hell.
Because there's the blood on it. But again, because I like to accessorize. Like, I like when my stuff matches.
Yep. Absolutely. We need to figure a way to get you a bloody like shirt so you can wear a bloodied like flesh and pod shirt.
There's a bunch of stuff I would love to have them get on shirts, and I don't know what their contracts are with artists for why they may or may not like put some of the art on shirts or whatever. So I understand that this is like a logistic nightmare of a wish, but I think it would be very cool for them to do a series of shirts that are class shirts. So like, I would love there to be like an assassin shirt where it's got like Arachne, Uzuri, and New like on the shirt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you could do like a Guardian one where it's like Victor, Bravo,
Oldham.
Yeah, I guess Oldham. I was gonna say
Valda.
Valda. Yeah. Just because I wanted some diverse representation in there. But yeah,
Betsy,
sure, we could do Oldham
Betsy
too.
on there.
Yeah, Betsy would be a good one. Yeah, actually, like Betsy, Valda, Bravo. I think I like better because I don't want Victor on my shirt anyway. But you know what I mean? Like, take like 3 to 4 of each class and almost do it like an album cover. Doing poses or back to back or whatever. But just like put it on a shirt for your class. That would be really, really cool, in my opinion.
All right, I could see that
because I would rock the assassin shirt to every event. Just no question.
No, understandable. I mean, that's probably something we can probably just do. Is my guess.
Yeah, I mean, here's what we'll do. I will just commission Ejur,
right,
to draw me all 3 together. But again, like, it's still the characters I'm guessing are still owned by Fab. That's where you get into the weird thing. But I bet if I got the art, I could still get somebody to make me just one because I don't want to sell them. I just want one.
Right. And
so maybe that's the way.
Yeah, But
LSS, you could print money. That's what I'm saying.
That's what we're saying.
You should do the thing.
Mm-hmm. And does each class have a symbol? I thought they did.
I don't think that they do.
I'm going to find this page. So let's just look at new. Let's look at assassin. Yes, they do. So each class has a seal. The assassin one is 2 crossed size.
Interesting.
Guardian one, I think, is just a hammer, isn't it? Yeah, it's just a hammer. It's just an Othos, effectively. Yep, that's all the Guardian one is.
Is that just somewhere else that's not like on the lore part?
It's on the lore page. If you just click in each hero, you can look on the center and it will show you
I see
what the sigil is.
I guess I never realized that was the sigil, but that makes sense.
Like warrior is a sword, which, pretty easy, self-explanatory on that one. But they have like little flourishes to them too.
Guardian is just a Nothos, essentially. It's just a giant hammer.
So like if you look at it's like your rune blades. If you look at Briar, her rune blade sigil as an elemental rune blade is different than Chain's as a shadow rune blade by having like just by the flourishes.
Well,
that
right.
Are in
so
the sigil.
I was just going to say, I think that's why I didn't ever realize that was the thing. Similarly, New has the like mystic flourish as opposed to just being the size. So I see how they're doing it now.
Yeah. And so you could easily just put the have the sigil for each of the heroes like on a sleeve, and have your 3 heroes set up, and like on the back have something like this says like classes in session, and just have it like say assassin classes in session or whatever, and go from there. But
you put my 3 assassins on the front, and then you put the sigil on a sleeve.
Yeah. Or you put the 3 sigils on the back, because you would have a mystic assassin. Well, you'd have a mystic and then 2 non-affiliated, so you'd only have 2 sigils. Because Uzuri, unless they gave her... Nope, Uzuri is just the basic one. So they didn't give Uzuri a different sigil than Arachne.
Right.
They both are the same. But yeah, it's doable. Ninja's just a Kadachi.
So it's not just the flourishes. With Briar specifically, when I look at Briar and then I look at like Vincent, Briar's actual sword is different too. Because she has like literally
she has
Rosetta.
Duskblade.
Is that what it is? Duskblade? I thought she
Duskblade.
Had Rosetta Thorn there.
I don't think that's the Thorn. Thorn doesn't have, if I remember right, let me just double check my art here. But I'm pretty sure Rosetta Thorn doesn't have the big hilt. No, Rosetta Thorn does not have like a bigger hilt, and Duskblade does. So that looks like Duskblade to me.
All right.
Yeah, well, it still doesn't even look exactly like Duskblade either. So,
but I mean, either way, it's definitely different from the other Runeblade swords. Is what I was getting at. Like Viscerai and Chains are close enough. It's just that obviously Chain has the like Shadow Flourish, but the Briar one was noticeably different to me.
Yeah. Brutes just have a Romping Club, and Levia's is just the tendrils wrapped around the Romping Club, for lack of a better terminology. So yeah, there are individual sigils.
The merchant one is actually fantastic.
Is it just $dollar bills, y'all?
It's just literally holding a gold coin.
It is literally just $dollar bills, y'all. That is the merchant one.
Yeah, that's actually kind of fantastic.
It's wonderful. I love it. And I love how Cavdane's like page for like his hero, because they have, the notable cards and everything at the bottom. It's all just copper tokens. There's no other cards shown for Cavdane. It's just copper tokens.
Yeah, whereas Genus has like a ton of items and whatever.
Yeah, but Cavdane is literally just an entire run of copper tokens.
Yeah, I know. That's
sick. Little Easter eggs like that are what make LSS so fucking interesting as a company. Sometimes it's like, what the? All right, that's really cool.
That's it. So the Levia,
the tendrils,
that's kind of neat.
Like a tentacle almost.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Nat season recap. All the points are in. All the ballots are counted. So just a quick check on who was good in the season. So Zen obviously was the big winner. We already knew that from our discussion last week with Vishra.
What? That doesn't sound right.
445 points. That's almost halfway in one season.
Whoa. We're halfway there.
Yeah, right. New had 285, which is something that we'd be talking about if somebody else hadn't had a fucking 445 ball. Azalea, then it dips off dramatically. So it goes 160 points down, then 160 points down. So it's at least symmetrical with Azalea at 125 and then Victor at 105 and Dash at 100. No other heroes hit 100 points.
You know, you talk about things that like we would be talking about if not for X, Y, or Z. Azalea got 125 points. You remember when there was like a 3-year bounty for her to get any points?
Any points at all?
Azalea got 125 points. They grow up so fast.
They sure do. And then, yeah, like I said, all other heroes were under 100. So we talked about it last week. The Zen numbers, especially when you start putting them into context, are kind of terrifying. And we would probably have been talking about new and news performance if Zen didn't exist. So they definitely gave us the juice, so to speak, in Mistvale. And I think that that's going to really define the Pro Tour coming up in a couple weeks. But we'll get a little taste of that coming up soon. So you'll get to comment on it. You'll get to say things about it on cameras.
Yeah.
I don't think I have much to add to that conversation. Honestly, we kind of hit on Zen being a problem and the things that are kind of needed to take care of it. I think that New's not a problem. It just looks like a problem with potentially with Zen there, but we will have to see, because I know that some people are out there thinking that the comment that I made about they accidentally hogacked the deck could be a real thing, where they basically told people how they should pilot it. And now it'll just be more consistent, but we'll see what happens. I still think it's foolish not to think Zen's going to, at the very least, put multiple copies in the top 8 of the Pro Tour, if not win it outright. Anything else to add?
Not at the moment. No, I think we'll learn quite a bit this upcoming weekend in New Jersey, and then I think Amsterdam's going to be a bit of a wild ride.
Could be. Speaking of Amsterdam, we did get a little bit of what I put Playmate in there. I can't believe I did that, but unless you added that, but the swag for Amsterdam kind of came out. You get Enigma New Moon as your playmat and your sleeves for the event. So that's kind of new and different and interesting. Nothing that I would chase after. And then the thing that I will chase after, or would like to chase after, is there also for certain events there for the event exclusive is Rainbow Foil Dutch Nullrune. And
yeah,
I kind of want those.
Me too.
But I won't be there.
Me either.
But Nullrune, Dutch Nullrune. And everybody know that's going to be there is going to be playing the Pro Tour. So I can't just make them farm Nullrune for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well.
I mean, the good news is it's not like you need Nullrune for every hero you play. It's not like one of those universal cool promos that you could slap in all of your decks at any time. You know what I mean?
It's exactly that.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
Right.
I know. I'm just more depressed.
That was not the actual goal, but I understand. And they look so good though. Like there's a giant Dutch presence in Iowa, and makes me want to have clogs on my Nullrune boots.
Do the Amish play Flesh and Blood?
They might.
Oh, okay.
It's not electronic.
Yeah. No online client.
Right.
See, they are being fair to the Amish folk.
They are. I think that's I think it's good that they're making sure that our Amish homies are taken care of in Flesh and Blood. I think that's very noble of them. We've said it for the last 4 months, but the Realm 5K Brawl is this coming weekend in Princeton, New Jersey. If you haven't registered, you still can. It's a $70 entry for the 5K Brawl, which is also a ProQuest Plus on July 20th in Princeton, New Jersey. That would also get you, with your top 8, would get you an invite to the $50,000 invitational tournament at the end of the year. And a first place finish would also get you a PTI and some cash. Lots of cash, actually, because it's a 5K event. So lots of Ks to be gotten and invites to obtain. So if you're on the fence about going, just get off the fence and get your plans made. But from what I've understood, it'll probably be a pretty large event at this point. It's also called Realm Fest. So there will be other games being played as well. If Flesh and Blood does not work out for you or isn't your cup of tea, why are you listening to the show? But there will be Lorcana and Star Wars events as well. So definitely something to check out. Also on Sunday will be a Blitz Battle Hardened. So if you scrub out of the 5K on Saturday, you also have a Blitz Battle Hardened on Sunday. So definitely an interesting weekend to go and get some Flesh and Blood in before Pro Tour Amsterdam. Derek will be there casting. He'll be in the booth doing the damn thing.
And word on the street is I'm going to get carried all weekend by some amazing talent. So looking forward to it.
There are strong backs that will be in the booth with you, and they will carry you to glory. That is a guarantee.
Big backpacks.
I
cannot wait to be the Yoda to their Luke Skywalker. Yeah. Not because I'm teaching them, but because they'll be carrying me in a backpack.
Correct.
I'm going to be more like a disembodied C-3PO.
That seems more accurate, actually. Yeah. Is a dismembered C-3PO. I guess we're at 37 and a half minutes.
Yeah, I know. You're trying to hit that 45-minute mark, and I'm trying to not make this go longer. And then you keep going, do you have anything to add? And I'm like, Logan, you set this. You were like, I think we can do a 45-minute show. I believe in us. And I was like, I don't think we can. And I'm not the problem.
I'm fine. So we have 2 listener questions, and I did not solicit for any more because I was trying to make this quick. So the first one is from Geeks First, Jacob. If you could make one emoji that does not exist, what is it and why?
If I can make one emoji that does not exist.
Yes.
I need an emoji that is the equivalent of the Herald meme, the hide the pain, right? Where it's a smile, but we all know you're smiling through the pain. There are emojis where you do like the kind of cringe smile. There are like weird, but nothing that really hits the same way as the true Harold hide the pain face. So I need an emoji that encapsulates that, because that is the emoji I would use the absolute most.
That makes sense. I don't really have one because I don't use a lot of emojis. And
it's because the hide the pain one doesn't exist.
That's probably part of it. I tend to wear my pain on the outside, though, not on the inside. Because I'm not trying to win therapy like some fucking people on this show. And yeah.
It's not Jordan's fault he's like that.
Like if there's a... Okay, fine. But if there's a... God damn it. If we could find like a flip and rip emoji, that'd be great. Or a... if we could find a good emoji to define a degenerate gambler, I think that would also work out fantastic.
So this would actually be a really cool thing. So maybe not an emoji, but a template of a GIF for flip and rip where somebody films somebody like turning over a card and ripping it in half, but then they do the card out of like green screen stock so that then you can Photoshop into your GIF whatever you want the card to be, or have it be not cards, right? You can just have the freedom of like showing somebody rip apart whatever. I think would actually be a lot of fun.
Bad. I'd enjoy that. That would be fun.
Yeah.
Moving on, I got 5 minutes. Last question is from Soft Sloth. I think a first-time question asker, actually. Some people have been talking about how Fab's casual scene lacks in comparison to other TCGs. Yeah, us. I have a theory that because Fab has such a great organized play support, Nationals, Callings, Battle Hardens, etc., competitive players are more inclined to get into the game, whereas many other TCGs lack that support attract/keep players because there's little to no pressure to perform. Do you think Fab's success as a competitive TCG is directly harming their potential on the casual scene? Also, which heroes do you think are more of a dog person or a cat person? Let's say take the important part first, which is I believe that Briar's a cat person.
Easy.
Yeah. Well, obviously the ninjas are cat people. That's just easiest money ever.
Hot take. I think Fi is a dog person.
I could see that, but I'm just going to go ahead and say that cat person till proven otherwise. Bravo's
actually, you know what? He's the weird one who's like, I like exotic birds.
Yeah, right. Yeah. He knows a lot about bird law and is into exotic
Only
birds.
the finest phoenixes in my cage.
Yeah. Christ. Bravo is definitely a golden retriever boyfriend, so there's no way that he's not a dog person. I would say that anybody that's in the that's a shadow hero kind of is priced into being a dog person because they have Cerberuses, I'm sure, hanging out with them. That feels right.
I think Chain and Lavia are definitely dog people. I think Vincent is actually a cat lady.
Okay. I guess I could do that. I believe that Dorinthia is the most annoying type of dog person, like a Paris Hilton type of dog person, as is Prism. I believe
Shiana is a cat person.
Oh, Shiana's 100% a cat person. Like that's the easy one. That's an easy one.
Yeah. Betsy's a dog person.
Yep.
Victor's a horse person. Literally.
Like literally a horse
person.
Sure. Kasai is a cat person, most likely. And anything. Who else can we fit into these neat little bit? Okay, so the assassins. So Uzuri's a spider person, or sorry, Arachne's a spider person.
Yes.
Uzuri wears a dog's pelt, it looks like.
Yeah, she's a cat person.
Makes me think cat person, but Riptide definitely a dog person.
Because I'm pretty sure the Shriek Razors are her murder mittens, just like a cat. So
that makes sense. And then the like Dash is a robot chicken person. I don't fucking know. I don't have a good way to go.
Dash is a dog person, but it's one of those annoying robot dogs
that does the backflippy thing, the yipping and backflipping. Yeah,
either that or literally the like ones that they're training for cops. She's like, she's got the Metrics Dynamics dog.
Right. The ones that are like in Metalhead from Black Mirror, that episode with the
you're getting it.
Boston Robotics dogs have gone sentient and are hunting people. Yeah, that makes sense, honestly. Now to the question that you asked first. So this has been, honestly, we've talked about this quite a bit but there's one interesting spot that you talked about here. We're not going to make the 45 minutes, but that's okay. There's one interesting spot you say here, and that's directly harming. I'm going to focus on that language because I think that that's the most important part of the question. I think that's a no. I don't think that portion is directly harming the casual scene. I think any direct harm that comes to the casual scene is, or any, I guess harm's even the wrong word. I don't think there's any direct harm to the casual scene. I think the lack of casual scene comes, especially right now, from the fact that it has been and was designed as a competitive first game. And so when people got into it at the beginning and started building communities, they started building competitive communities. And this always fucks with people whenever we have to get into it, because Flesh and Blood is only 5 years old. It is not something that is a super established game or IP yet. It is established for sure. But you think back to even Magic. Magic was played on kitchen tables almost exclusively from its inception until probably about 1998, 1999. Yeah. Now there were Pro Tours before that, but if you wanted to play in Pro Tour 1, you literally called a 1-800 number and told them you wanted to play, and that's how you signed up. Like, you didn't qualify. You called a fucking phone number.
You're like, I want to do the thing.
Right. So it's hard to call that like a Pro Tour or a competitive scene even. And also the Magic Pro scene was hyper toxic up until 2006.
2026. Yeah,
2026. Yeah, hyper toxic. Not like it's still toxic, but hyper toxic.
Yeah, 2026.
Okay,
I said what I said with my whole chest.
What you said. All right, that's fine. So I don't feel like it's a direct harm situation. I think it's the difference in the way that the game was started. And instead of building towards a competitive scene from casual, it has to build towards a casual scene from competitive, which is more difficult in my mind, because you're trying to ask your invested players who started playing this game on the auspice that it was a competitive card game that they wanted to play, and you're asking them to dial it down-ish to play it as a more casual game as well. And that's a hard sell for a lot of people that are already in that competitive mindset. So you need products, and they've started doing this, that are directed at casual markets to try to capture that. But you almost need like casual captains too, that like are going to champion casual play, or you need to make a PvE product.
Finally, you got to the thing I wanted to talk about.
Now you go. You see, this is called banter, and I know what you want to say, and so I lead you into it. It's called a sagu.
So I think that the real answer is I don't think that the existence of any sort of competitive player circuit or whatever is an active harm, because while they're not in complete silos, the reality is they're pretty far apart in terms of what players want, what they expect and experience. And so I don't think that the existence of competitive play makes people not want to play casually. It's more so when people want to play casually, what is the kind of experience they want to have? And then when you look at the core game mechanics of Flesh and Blood, do those align with what people want in a casual environment? Because I've been thinking about this for quite some time, both in multiplayer formats and casual formats. I've been trying to think like, why, do people not play this game casually as much? And when I ask people like, what is it that you enjoy about Commander, right? Because obviously that's the big flagship thing that Magic pushes right now, right? Or other casual games. When I ask people, there are a few key points that always rise to the top, like in terms of over and over and over again. The first is that they want to feel like over the course of a game, they're getting stronger. And one of the things that I love about Flesh and Blood is that it is degenerative design. Most heroes start at their strongest and they get weaker. Whereas like in Magic, even if I deal no damage to my opponent, you know, if I play a couple creatures, if I play an artifact or an enchantment or something, I feel like I've done something. I feel like I'm progressing my game state. But in Flesh and Blood, you know, you're losing equipment and you're losing stuff out of your deck and you're winding down from the moment the game starts. So it's a different experience, right? And we all like that idea of feeling like we're getting stronger. It's the reason so many video games and RPGs and whatever all have that progression loop. It's people like to feel like they're improving. Gameplay experience is no different. The other bit, and it goes along with that feeling like it's improving, is that people say that they don't want to feel like the games have to end until everyone's ready for them to end. And so one of the things that you see from Magic or from other card games, you know, whether it's Star Wars or Lorcana or whatever, people can kind of like still do things. So it doesn't feel like they're doing nothing, but they can do things without advancing the game to its end state. So again, I could play creatures. I could play 3 artifacts. I could do something and then pass the turn, right? And that also allows for politics and table talk and alliances and all those things to form. In Flesh and Blood, if you're not an illusionist or to some degree maybe a mechanologist with their items, but for most classes, the thing you do on your turn is attack somebody. And so if you're not doing that, you're just passing, and so it feels bad, right? And I think that is part of the problem, is that when you're trying to play casually and the only options you have are to punch a friend in the face, there are some people that will enjoy that, but a large part of casual audiences will not, in my opinion. And so I say all of this to lead up to the reason that I think that they, at some point, and I know they've been saying it's coming for a long time, but at some point they need to have and nail a PvE product, is because that is a way for a group of friends to sit around a table and play. And also, you know, hopefully in this PvE thing, you know, it's either co-op or they're fighting, you know, other enemies or whatever. They don't feel like their turns are doing nothing, but they're also not like eliminating their friends, right? Because that's the other thing that, you know, Ultimate Pit Fight is last person standing, which again, great. But you run into some of those problems that you run into even with Commander, where when you're playing that kind of game mode, if somebody's knocked out early and the game takes another half hour, one person's sitting there not having fun for a half hour, right? And there's not a good way. I mean, you could, but there's not a good way to replicate, say, what Star Wars does with their multiplayer format right now, which is the moment one person is out, the game ends, and then there's a bunch of tiebreakers for like how it resolves, right? You could maybe do something like that, but I just don't feel like that's the spirit of Ultimate Pit Fight, if I'm being honest. Like, it would feel weird. So ultimately, I think that something like a good PvE format needs to occur for this to really take off as a casual game, because the core gameplay mechanics that make Flesh and Blood so dynamic when you're playing one-on-one competitively just also don't make for great casual multiplayer mechanics, because again, you're not advancing your board state, you don't feel like you're getting stronger, and you can't like not do anything on your turn, or else you feel like you've done nothing. And, you know, that's not a satisfying gameplay experience. So I don't think again, long-winded, but I don't think that has anything to do with the like existence and the focus on competitive, only to the degree that the game was designed to be competitive. So the core game mechanics favor 1v1 competitive play, because that's what the game at its core was meant to be.
Yep. That's about it. Okay, 53 minutes. I'm ready to thank patrons. How about you?
Yes.
Yes. Thank them.
We could speed through this and still make it under an hour.
Let's go. Our associate producers are Andy, Sindra, Jacob, Kenny, Larry, and the Salty Sea Cat. Our executive producers on up are Alex, Blazestorm, Dom, that's good thrust, Matt Tutokes, Poxonus, Trevor, Mike, Philip, Rich, and Sunny. If you are interested in becoming a patron of Flesh and Pod, you can go to patreon.com/Flesh and Pod. Link is in the show notes. Pick a tier, any tier. If it's a paid tier, you get to come into FAP After Dark whenever those run. Probably try to get one in next week or the week after, before Gen Con preferably. If you need to contact us or contact the show, you can send an email to fleshandpod@gmail.com. You can find us on Twitter @fleshpod. You can go into the YouTube comments, like, subscribe, and comment, and let us know what you think. If you think we're trash, tell us that. If you think that we are great, tell us that. I don't really give a fuck. Just do the goddamn thing. But the best way to get a hold of us directly at any point in time is always to join the Discord. The link is in the show notes, like every other fucking link we have. It is free to join. You don't have to be a member of Patreon or anything of the like. You can just join. Derek, where can they find you?
They could not.
They can also not.
I know. I say that every week lately, but Discord is the best place to find me. You can also find me on Twitter @thatcharmer. It's Charm3R because numbers and names win games. It's just Charmer on Twitch and YouTube. But the easiest way is to join our Discord. You do not have to be a patron to join. It is free for everybody. You join and then you use the @ symbol and then type @Jordan Kennedy and send him well wishes. He loves getting pinged on Discord. He loves
when people ping him on Discord. It's actually his favorite thing. So @I'm Jermaine, IMJORMAN. That's what you do. That's it for us this week. Again, short and sweet, out under an hour. I got nothing else. Slow news weeks are slow news weeks, so they are what they are. But next week is not a slow news week, and we'll be definitely back with a lot to talk about for the Misfit episode that it will be 138. If you know, you know, and we'll talk to you next week. Bye.